I'd like to introduce our MC for tonight's event. As I said before, he's a writer, but he's also been a stand-up, a game show host, and an actor. And for the past 15 years, he's been a writer-producer. You might have seen his work on Everybody Loves Raymond, and currently New Adventures of Old Christine, CBS, Wednesday nights. I would like to bring up, please, Lew Schneider.
Everybody. How many of you have never attended a Penn and Pictures event? How many of you, those of you who have been to one of these before, how many of you attained astronomical success as a result of your attendance? Only one. Yeah, we used to do better. All right, well, listen, we're glad to have you. I try to keep things a little bit sort of free-form. You're welcome to ask questions, once the speakers have completed their spiels. And please, I encourage you, in fact, to ask any question, no matter how seemingly meaningless or embarrassing, because it keeps the evening light and fun. See? All right, first let me tell you a little about myself. I went to Penn, I graduated in '83. I majored in history. There was no reason for that. I had a couple of AP credits coming out of high school, and that was my quickest way out. I decided, of course, after spending enough time in Philly and doing as many mask and wig shows as I could, that comedy was the life I wanted. My parents were thrilled. I went to Chicago to take classes in Second City. I then, at that time it was about 1985, I started doing stand-up because if you were young and male and Jewish at that point in this country and you didn't have a job, you were drafted into the world of comedy, and you had to start doing comedy. And I did stand-up around the Midwest for a couple of years, then moved to New York, got a job hosting a Nickelodeon game show called Make the Grade, then got a TV series called Wish You Were Here, which lasted about 10 seconds. And then came out here because once you've had that kind of success, you have to move everybody to California. And I was on a show that was produced by another Penn alum named Alan Kirschenbaum called Down the Shore, which was one of the first Fox sitcoms. I did that for about 2 seasons. That died, and so did my acting career. I was hopelessly out of work for about 13 months, and with nothing to do except sit in front of a computer that I just bought, I decided to start writing, and the writers on the shows that I worked on had always been pretty encouraging. And I started writing, and I worked on the John Larroquette Show, and a show called The George Wendt Show, and The Naked Truth, and then Everybody Loves Raymond was written by a guy who had been a writer on Down the Shore, and I'd known Ray Romano from my stand-up days in New York. And one thing led to another, and I got a job on Raymond and stayed there for 9 years, and we did pretty well. And I did a few Penn and Pictures events because that was the goal the whole time. After that, I had a couple of failed pilots and a couple of overall deals, and I worked on American Dad as part of one of those. That was my first foray into animation, which I enjoyed. And then I did a single camera show for 20th that will never see the light of day, and now I'm over at Old Christine, which has been great, but it's sort of more of the same. And after sort of seeing how the business has changed as a result of the writer's strike last year, I'm happy to have a job and scared to death about what comes next. As if you know anything about entertainment, you should always return to that baseline of scared to death about what comes next. And that's where I am, and we'll see what happens after this, and maybe making 5-second shorts for Funny or Die on YouTube. And that's about all I can expect from this career. So so I don't want to paint a bleak picture for you people, but it's over. I have to tell you, it is over. There's nothing to be accomplished in show business.